Hey Gooners, fuck, DBD droids. Anyways, this video, I've been thinking about this video for a long time. As you probably know what this video is going to be about, either by the title or the thumbnail. Today I wanted to talk about Springtrap. Yeah, the man behind the slaughter. Anyways, but yeah, this video is going to be kind of ironic because I'm a P87 Springtrap at the moment anyways. Springtrap, I know like Springtrap doesn't really matter when it comes to prestigious or any killer in that fact. It does matter though because, you know, I've spent a lot of time with this killer and I just want to say he's low-key kind of dog shit, which is kind of ironic because I play a lot of Springtrap. He's probably like my most played killer at the moment, or at least one of them. I think he's my top 3 at least. Oh wait, Ender, didn't you just say you played this killer a lot? Yes, but when I first started playing this killer way back in May, I fell in love with this killer. But the thing is, it wasn't because of the power design. No, not at all. It was because his physical design and his voice lines, which is what made him really great for me as a FNAF fan. Because I am a huge fucking FNAF fan by the end of the day, and I was so blinded by how bad this killer truly is. And I realized I wasn't really the only victim. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Springtrap's kit, it's like just so overwhelming, like extremely overwhelming. His kit is so overwhelming. I can't even bear. We're going to start off with the axe. The axe is pretty basic, but can be really hard to use when going up against cringe wannabe comp players, or, you know, the ones that have 2 brain cells that could dodge projectiles, you know, with any other killer that has a projectile. Some killers are harder, but, you know, I digress. Not only just that, but the hitbox is really accurate, which is a good thing, but also a really bad thing. The main reason why it's a bad thing is because sometimes when you throw the axe, the misses don't really make sense, which I can argue, which, you know, you could argue, which is just a skill issue, which is fair. But let me ask, would it really be that crazy to ask for a hitbox to be, you know, a tiny bit bigger to hit for the survivors with the killer? Like, is that like crazy to say? Like, just make the hitbox a little bit bigger, because like I feel like the hitbox is a little bit too accurate. I don't know, maybe I'm asking for too much, who knows. Which, speaking of hitboxes, orbitals, I'm gonna come. Oh. Don't even get me started with these unrealistic shots, because these shots only really work on bad pathing survivors. I'll die on that hill. All right, I'll die on that hill. I will keep saying that, because sometimes when I go for orbitals, the axe will land on them but won't register as a hit, which I don't know, like, maybe I don't really understand like why that happens. Maybe it's just because the hitbox is really small. I guess that would make sense. I know this with the weird killer instinct bubble thing as well, but I also know this because I've witnessed the axe doing this with my 2 own gorgeous eyeballs, of course. And maybe it's just a me issue, fair, but that doesn't change the fact that shots like this 90% of the time aren't realistic, which is really unfortunate, and I'm kind of sad about that. Speaking of weird bubble killer instinct, don't get me wrong, it can help sometimes, but most of the time it's fucking pointless. Now, I know things like Foxy's Hook as an add-on or Endo CPU exist, but without these 2 add-ons, there is no reason for this bubble existing thing to even exist. And having this with Springtrap, you know, the guy from FNAF 3 who never had an axe, by the way, before any idiots go like, oh, but it was approved by Scott, shut up! Anyways, Scott approved of, you know, fucking security breach, if you forgot about that already, if any FNAF fans are watching this, which, by the way, kind of proves that Scott's decision making isn't always perfect, whether you like security breach or doesn't. Most of the community didn't like security breach, especially when it first came out. This is not including the Ruin DLC, which I did like, but I just didn't like security breach as a game. But you know what, that's okay, because we all make decisions just like Scott. We're all human by the end of the day, right? I mean, that's a normal thing. But Springtrap having an axe never happened in the games. And I don't give a shit about that one fucking FNAF song, I hope you die in a fire. Like,
you shut the fuck up. I hope you die in a fire.
Just shut up. But anyways, on to the doors. Springtrap's doors. Now, I don't really have too much to say about the doors, considering they're just copy and paste of other teleporting killers, but with the cooler animation, which is the only difference. But I must ask behavior. Why can you see the numbers in the door flashing when Springtrap is coming? Like, why? You're just making pre-running easy and Springtrap weaker in the process. Not like, And not even to fucking mention the security cams, which is a cool concept, but when Swifts can use it to get free wall hacks, it's stupid and it's just unnecessary killer counterplay. Like, I just don't understand why it exists for Springtrap. It should not exist. Maybe it should exist like for a killer like I don't know, maybe like Nurse or something, or Blight, which I know everyone is just not talking about that needs nerfed, but hey, you know, that's not the point. Anyways, but like, keep in mind that even with all these wall hacks and stuff like that, the other big downside with Springtrap's axe, which I know we're talking about the doors, but I'm just saying, keep in mind, when you throw your axe, you're a fucking M1 killer, by the way, and they can get the free wall hacks while you're M1 killer, and it's really stupid. I don't understand why it's a thing. And they can use the doors as map traversal, which is something I also forgot to mention. Oh, but Ender, it's risky to use the doors, right? You have to be going through the door the same location as the survivor, like the same door they're traveling through. You have to go through that door too. Like, basically, you can't just run into them freely. You have to be, it has to be a very specific scenario, which is stupid, and they should change it to where no matter where the survivor is going, you can easily run into them, because you would be making it to where all the doors are linked to the same office, which would be a nice buff. I don't understand why that's not a thing already. Now, I want to talk about indoor maps with Springtrap. Basically, I won't make this segment too long, but I will say Springtrap, while carrying the axe on indoor maps, and it's like really bad, and it's bad. Okay, it's bad, and it makes them really weak due to how many corners survivors can go around and cut to try avoiding the axe. Keep in mind, and you have to get somewhat close to them to be in range, which I know maps with killers are bad, like projectile killers, but I could debate Springtrap being the worst projectile killer, if not one of the worst on indoor maps. Just make him like 15% movement speed altogether, to be honest, and I think he would be fine. I think he would do better on indoor maps. Now, he does need more, don't get me wrong, he needs a lot more buffs than just that, but I'm saying that buff alone could definitely help out a little bit with Springtrap in general. He would still be really bad on indoor maps, just like a lot of other projectile killers, which is just an issue on its own. But I will say, you know, that would be a really nice buff, but we obviously know that's not going to fucking happen because behavior is retards. But yeah. Now you might be asking, Ender, what would you do to fix Springtrap? Well, what I would do to fix Springtrap, here's the first solution. And I know behavior is not going to do this. Okay. But I think they should completely rework his power. I don't mind the concept of his axe staying in the kit, but I don't think that should be his primary. I think that should be just like a side effect, like you know, something that assists him during chase, right? I think what they should do is add in the Phantom animatronics, because when they first, like a year and a half ago, maybe now, maybe two, I don't know how long ago it's been, but when they first announced FNAF X DBD, what I thought what the power was going to be was Springtrap. It was going to be something along the lines of him having Phantom animatronics. Oh, excuse me, hiccups. Anyways, having Phantom animatronics involved with his power, but we got nothing like that. We got security doors and an axe, which is extremely underwhelming and is super unfortunate. And people glaze this killer just simply because of Springtrap, which, you know, makes sense, I guess. But like, you gotta also admit that there's problems with this killer as it is, and he needs a lot of changes. And I feel like this solution with adding Phantom animatronics into the ability, not just making the axe the main power, would be great and would be really cool. But knowing this fucking community and behavior, especially the community, it's mainly the community's fault, not just behaviors. In this case, just because people overglaze his killer way too much for no reason. And I think that's where the core issues really start to come into play. But yeah, that's what I'd probably do to try to fix this killer. If they were not going to do that, here's the other solution. They need to make him a 115 killer. They need to give him an add-on pass, because besides like a few add-ons, most of his add-ons are pretty dog shit. Basically, give him an add-on pass, basically what Pyramid Head got, or Traffic Cone as I call him. And I think that would be really good, especially if you got an add-on pass, making him a 115 movement speed killer. I think they should also remove, whenever Springtrap's going through a door, you shouldn't be able to see the fact that the door, on like the numbers on the door are actually flickering. You shouldn't be able to see that at all, because you don't want to give survivors an actual chance to pre-run you. By the way, it's very RNG reliant whether they can see the doors, like, you know, numbers on it or not when they're doing the generator, because the way the doors can be placed and stuff like that on certain maps. But The only other buff besides that I would give him is like, I would probably remove, like I said earlier, the concept of everyone traversing, whenever a survivor uses the door, it shouldn't be the same like thing. Like it should be the same office that you're going through at the same time, right? That they're going through, but it's not for some reason right now. They should change that. What they should also do, in my opinion, is if they want to look at you through security cameras, it shouldn't just be, you know, like you sitting on a door and just looking through the security cameras. I think they should actually go out of their way, and only one person can do this at a time, by the way. They have to go inside the office itself and look on the security cams. I think that would be really cool, and I think behavior is capable of coding that. And I think they should add some kind of mechanic to where, I don't know what, I haven't really fully thought this through. This would be like its own separate video, but say for example, the less they look at Springtrap with the cameras, the more powerful he becomes. Now, how would he become powerful? I haven't really fully thought of that. That's why I thought animatronics would come into play. That's what I thought would be really cool for Springtrap. I think it would make sense for the longer you don't look on him for the security cameras, the stronger he becomes. I don't think it should give you wall hacks. I think they should completely change that and completely revert that and make it into something completely different. And I think this killer could actually be genuinely really cool, especially if you made Phantom Animatronics a part of his power, other than just a copy and paste Xenomorph slash, you know, Huntress projectile, which is really boring. But by the way, he's really shitty compared to those killers. And I would debate this killer is probably like top 10 weakest killers in the game. And I know people are going to go like, no, he's actually A tier. Even Ott said that. Well, I don't really care what Ott says. And I'm a person with my own opinions that can form my own opinions. And I'm going to continue to do so. Without further ado, though, yeah, that's all I really have to say. I just wanted to like make this video. I'm not saying I hate Springtrap. I do like certain things about Springtrap. I think it's satisfying when you hit axe shots, orbital shots. And well, it's really unfortunate because those hits, like I said before earlier in the video, are not very consistent. But yeah, I just wanted to make a quick video. I hit my microphone on accident, oops. But anyways, I just wanted to make a quick video. That's all I really had to say, to be honest with you. Hopefully this killer does get some massive buffs. I don't think they're going to add the Phantom Animatronics, but they could really do something cool with the security office system, making it like a different part of his power and stuff like that, and adding the Phantom Animatronics. That would be really fucking cool. Now, would they ever do that? Probably not. But if the bare minimum, at least give them an add-on pass, please. This killer wasn't good. You lost. Just... No. What do you mean? You died. GG's. They said yes. Okay. You only got a killer's hit. Huh?
That doesn't even make sense.
Just cause you won, don't mean you wasn't good. You lost to a mid-tier killer. I own you, big dog. Okay. By the way, indoor maps suck for Springtrap. Try playing killer. Oh, mistyped playing. And then you camped basement. Yes, I camped basement. Maybe it's because I'm on a indoor map. I own you because I looped you the longest. First of all, I'm on a fucking indoor map as Springtrap. Second off, if you own me, then why did you lose? Crazy, because you're asking why did I not commit to a chase when half the time you can't commit to chases as killer. Sometimes you just can't take a chase. It's better to go for the pressure, which is my objective, by the way, is to stop you from doing the gens, not chase me. Oh, chase me, bro, chase me, bro, chase me, bro. Like, what are you talking about?